Remember Chuck? Some say he went off to war without warning. He disappeared, fighting for freedom on a faraway shore. But we'll never know what happened to this jock. I guess the pain is too great because Howard, he won't talk. Howard won't talk, and it's really such a shame. He's numb to what happened, he won't even mention his name. So Arthur moved in, and he became like family, just like an older brother for both Richie and Joni. I guess it all made sense. Perhaps Chuck had to go, 'cause you've got to break some eggs when you make a hit TV show. Howard won't talk, and it's really such a shame. He's numb to what happened, he won't even mention his name. Was it nothing more than a plot twist ever so grim? Or did the writers just get tired of him? Howard won't talk, and it's really such a shame. He's numb to what happened, he won't even mention his name. Howard won't talk, and it's really such a shame. He's numb to what happened, he won't even mention his name.
The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Good evening and welcome to The Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly TV from decades gone by, you've come to the right place. So tonight is all about 1976. We're going to be talking about mostly TV from 1976. At least that's what I've come prepared to do. And throughout the evening, I'll ask you to share your favorite music and movie memories from that year as well. But before I do any of that stuff, let me go over to the chat and see who's hanging out. Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse says, when I think 1976, I dream of Charlie's Angels. As do I, Paul. As do I. I've got a little video on that I'll share in just a little bit. Channel member Lance Chaffin says, hey, Dave, got my first Remind magazine last week. That's awesome. Probably the February issue? Or is it it might be the March issue, come to think of it. Either way, I just got mine as well, and it is absolutely delightful. Love Remind magazine. Thanks for all your support, Lance. He also had a milestone message. He says, thank you, Dave, for all the fun memories, my retro buddy. Lance has been a supporting channel member. If you're interested in supporting, the link's in the description of this video, but he's been a supporting channel member for 30 months now. And boy, oh boy, do I sure appreciate all your support, Lance. Thank you so much. Let's see. Gary Carpenter says, hey there, everyone. I'm back. And let's see. Folks are saying hi back and forth. Channel member Sean Innes says, hey, Lance, Gary, Uncle Paul. And look at this. We've got Thomas McCluskey, a.k.a. the Hungry Jerk, here hanging out with us tonight. Melina Long says, in 1976, they had SWAT on, which starred Robert Urich. Remember that show and the theme song very well. Adrian James, welcome to the live stream tonight. Channel member Sean Innes shares his milestone message as well. Growling Lance for beating him to it, but Sean has been a channel member for 26 months. That kind of support, I mean, I'm just speechless. It's hard to put into words how I feel for those folks who are supporting channel members. Thank you for all you do, Sean. I think next Monday will be another episode of Retropalooza available for all. And then the following week, we're going to do a channel member only watch party. And I'll be putting out to vote for you folks that are channel members. I'll be putting it out for you to vote on what we should watch together. But that should be a good time. And then the week after that, Uncle Paul from Beatles Playhouse is going to be hanging out with me, sharing his YouTube origin story. It should be a blast. Let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. Who else has popped into the chat? Raja1938 says, Barney Fife, deputy sheriff, and he's as good a man as any. So very, very true. Melina Long says in 1976, don't have chips because came out 1 year later. Did it come out in 77? That's possible. Deborah Battle, welcome to the live stream tonight. Good to have you with us. And looks like we have channel member John Collins who says, thanks, Dave, for your willingness to be the proprietor of this beloved community. Your Pat Harrington Jr. video is quite compelling. However, your presentation on Tom Villard is some of your best work. Well, thank you so much for that, John. I'm glad you feel that way. The Tom Villard video was one that I had a lot of fun putting together. You know, I often wonder if I go too short, too long. Videos kind of take on a life of their own, and it seems like most of my videos either run from 5 to 8 minutes. There's a little bit of filler there with some commercials and my ending message thanking my channel members and all that kind of stuff, but I could have gone longer on the Tom Villard one, and perhaps I should have gone longer. Maybe later on I'll expand that out some more. Melina Long says, 1976, Farrah Fawcett on TV, for sure, for sure. And David Thomas says hello. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Good to have you with us. Karen Lester says, hey, I hope everyone is having a great evening. And we hope you are having a great evening as well, Karen. Cindy D, welcome to the live stream. Melina Long says, Medical Center's last episode was in the spring of 76. What was his name, the actor? Chad? Come on. Everett. Didn't like that guy. Mirgard Hitsy Fit says, Charlie's Angels, Wonder Woman, Bionic Woman, Electra Woman, and Dinah Girl Alice, and The Love Boat. What a great bunch of programs there, huh? Thanks for sharing those with us, Mirgard Hissy Fit, if that is your name. Michael Garcia says, 76. I was a little boy, just 8 years old. Welcome to the live stream, Michael. Adrian James says, I was 6 in 76. Terrell Eugene Bellinger, a.k.a. affectionately known as Teb, says, hello, Dave. I wasn't around in 1976, but I'm feeling super nostalgic. Well, we appreciate having you with us tonight, Terrell. And you know what? You're a youngin', and we like having some youngins with us. Sakina McMurrin says, good evening, Dave. My favorite song from that year was Don't Go Breaking My Heart by Elton John and Kiki D. What a great song that was. What a great song. Cindy D says, the spirit of 76, I remember those bicentennial commercials, as do I. Just the entire United States had bicentennial fever. I thought it was great, right? I was just caught up in all of the celebrations, and it's a special year for me. Channel member Sean Innes says the first thing that comes to mind about 1976 was all of the bicentennial hoopla, especially in the summer. And channel member Sean Innes says the old ships sailing around New York City. Adrian James says we had hot weather in 76 here in the UK. Now, why didn't I know that you were in the UK? It's so great to have overseas participants hanging out with us, viewers. And you are a highly engaged viewer when you're with us, so we really appreciate having you here, Adrian. Melina says that Heather Locklear was not making TV appearances in 76. I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's see. We've got Adrian James again saying, I remember Starsky and Hutch started in this year, as do I. Great, great show with another fantastic theme song. Love that music. Cindy D remembers The Love Boat and Howard Cosell. We'll talk a little bit about Howard Cosell later on. Oh, no. We're going to talk about Paul Lynde. Sorry about that. Howard, did he have his variety show in 76? He might have. Tom says, went to the East Bay Comic-Con yesterday and met Michael Biehn. How cool is that? Wow. Sakina McMurrin, Wonder Woman and Charlie's Angels. Laverne and Shirley debuted in the spirit of 76. Laverne and Shirley, I believe, was the number 2 show during the 76 television season. Let's see what else we've got here. Ken Wilkinson's joined us. Good to have you with us, Ken. Muirgard Hissyfit says, I loved all those girl power shows, although I did love lots of other shows as well. Me too. Raja 1938 says they had a special bicentennial quarter that year. And look at this. We got Albert Nada Retro here hanging out with us tonight. Welcome. Always great to see you in the chat. Says Wonder Woman Season 2 with Lynde Carter. Yep, that was the season that it moved over to CBS from ABC and jumped a couple of decades, 3 decades actually to be exact, from World War II era to all the way to modern times. Deborah Battle says, I was 8 in 76, and my parents finally let me watch Tony, Orlando, and Dawn. Yes, I remember that variety show, and stop making me go to bed before it came on. My parents still tried to get us to bed, go to bed early. I did not know that, Adrian. Adrian, that's so cool. Great to have you with us. Time zone-wise, it's got to be, maybe it's earlier. I don't know. Got to think about that. Three's Company. Oh, yeah. David Thomas is here. He says, I saw the Bond movie on Her Majesty's Secret Service for the first time on TV. That's where I saw it for the first time. I later saw the feature film version and discovered that the 1976 version was an ABC edit with some changes from the film. I don't think I would. It's been so long since I've seen either version that I wouldn't know the differences, but that's interesting. I might have to check that out. Let's see. Scrolling through the chat. Melina says Buffy from Family Affair died during 76. Oh, so sad. So sad. And Sakina says that Starsky and Hutch debuted in 75, not 76, but it was so popular in 76. That's the thing. And Deborah Battle points out that 76, the summer of 76, was when the Jacksons had their own variety show. I believe it was on CBS. Cindy D says, I love disco. More, more, more. Yeah, I remember that one. So many good songs. Shake Your Booty, Disco Lady. John Collins, channel member John Collins says, Dave, where can I find the Tom Verlard Entertainment Tonight interview? I've been looking for it ever since your work, and I can't seem to find it, and I don't seem to have a milestone message option. Well, that's rude. First off, it's possible you've used, I don't know, did you use it in the last 30 days? I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't have one. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to get a new milestone message to share during live streams every month. So keep an eye out for it. In regards to the Tom Villard Entertainment Tonight interview, I wasn't able to find an actual video copy of that as well. I was doing research and found the Entertainment Tonight quote in an article as I was doing some research, going through old newspapers. So if I ever find the video, boy, that'd be a treat. I'll make sure I post it so that everybody can watch it. Tracy Tobias says Dino De Laurentiis's King Kong was a big deal in '76. Boy, it sure was, with Jessica Lange and Jeff Bridges. Melina Log points out that Lee J. Cobb passed away that year. Chance Bartels, the nostalgic pod blast, says the $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman. I was 5. And Tim Newcomb says, what year was the show Beretta with Robert Blake on? Don't go to bed with a price tag on your head. I believe Beretta was a 76 show. Let's look. It debuted in 75 and ran for 4 seasons until 1978. Good one. Oh, it's 1:40 a.m. in the UK. So, Adrian, you are a night owl, my friend. And thank you for sharing that, Mitch. Appreciate that. Ken McMahon says Lynde was in all seasons of Wonder Woman, and I think Lyle Wagner was too. That is correct. I think it was after he left the Carol Burnett show. Deborah Winger played Wonder Girl, her younger sister, in a few episodes. Yes. So Lyle Wagner played a different version of Steve Trevor, Steve Trevor's son, I believe, in the CBS version. And that's when Deborah Winger showed up, I believe, as well, was the CBS version. Chance points out that Three's Company debuted in 77. I believe it was like January of 77, right? So close to 76, but no cigar. Oh, yes, Deborah Winger did not want to stick around. She had her eyes on a bigger prize. Adrian James says we had the Muppet Show. We sure did. What a wonderful show that was. Good evening, Tracy. Great to have you here. Raja 1938 says 1976 was one of the creepiest horror flicks ever. Burnt Offerings with Oliver Reed. I have never seen that. Sounds like I need to watch it maybe around Halloween. And Chance points out Space 1999. Great science fiction show. Haven't watched it in a long time. I really need to go back and watch it. You and I have a common Space 1999. Well, had. I don't have mine anymore. You have the Space 1999 squirt gun I had when I was a kid. Albert Nautaredro says, no super chats tonight, I'm afraid. I'm having trouble with my new card. That is A-okay. You know what? Super chats are always a pleasant surprise, but never expected. And that's not why I do these live streams. But I do have some things that I want to talk to you all about. So let's do that. First off, I got an email today. As many of you know, I'm a big supporter of Retro Fan magazine. And those guys, they've been so great. They send me things from time to time. And, you know, they've just been really great supporters of the channel themselves. My contact there is a feller named John Morrow. I believe one of 2 brothers, perhaps, that run this publishing company. But, and they're, for me, the flagship magazine is Retro Fan. We put that up on the screen. But I got this email from the TwoMorrows store today, which says, hey, Dave, Diamond Comics Distributors has filed for bankruptcy without paying for our December and January magazines and books, leaving us with enormous losses. So, and the headline of this email to me was TwoMorrows Publishing needs your help. And as a result, so their distributor, their print media distributor, has gone out of business and welched on them and has not paid what they owe TwoMorrows Publishing. And as such, this great company is in a little bit of a precarious situation in terms of paying bills. And so they've got a big sale going on. I posted the link to TwoMorrows website in the description section of this video. Folks, if you want to support a great company, and they don't sponsor this live stream, they're not a sponsor, a paid sponsor, they're just friends of the channel. And I certainly do not want to see them go anywhere. Their Retro Fan magazine is just fantastic. And if you want to support these guys and help them out in a time of need, I'd encourage you to click on that link in the description section and go over and, pick up a back issue of Retro Fan magazine, one that is intriguing or interesting to you. Or you can do what I did. I bought this book, The Age of TV Heroes, from Jason Hoofius and George Corey. And this goes through all of the different superhero TV programs that have been on over the past, from the 50s on, right? So it wasn't expensive. I did the digital download, so I've been reading it this afternoon. It's great. And I feel really good because I'm supporting a publishing house that truly deserves my support, right? I am a retro nerd, and I'd encourage you all to do the same if you have the ability to do so. And matter of fact, I'd encourage that in lieu of, if you're tempted to do a super chat tonight, don't do it. Don't do it. Instead, head on over to TwoMorrows Publishing and pick yourself up a back copy of Retro Fan or one of their really cool books that they have. That's the better way to spend your money tonight. Let's keep these guys in business. All right, with that said, I wanted to share just some little mini videos about some of my favorite shows during 1976. And I already teased the #1 show in the U.S. in 1976 with a song before the start of the live stream. That was Howard Won't Talk. You can find that song and oodles of other songs that I've written over at my Retro Jukebox YouTube channel. But Happy Days was the number one television series here in the U.S. during 1976, during that TV season. And I thought I'd just share a few memories of Happy Days with you all, and then I'll be right back.
During the mid to late 70s, Happy Days was the king of all situation comedies, and it was one of my favorite shows on TV. The 50s were only 20 years removed back then from present day, but to me, life with the Cunningham family seemed like a completely different world. I think this TV guide ad for the very first episode said it best. The 50s were filled with innocence and the promise of even better days to come. As much as I loved the Cunningham family, I idolized the Fonz. Well, for at least the first few seasons. I really thought he was about as cool as you could get. He passed the TV Guide and Dynamite magazine test, as he was on the cover at least twice for both magazines, actually with TV Guide many more times.
While the show just wasn't the same after Ron Howard left, I still enjoyed it and hoped for the best for each cast member. After all, Ron Howard had gone on to great success with movies like Willow, and I don't care what anyone says about Solo. I enjoyed the heck out of that movie.
So that's it. And let me know what you think in the comments section, and while you're at it, on the thumbs up and subscribe buttons. I talk about music, movies, and television on my channel, mostly from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
So there you go. A little bit about Happy Days, a few of my memories. Let's see what else we've got going on in the chat. Muirgard Hissyfit says, All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times, all great shows. I hope you all enjoyed my Sherman Hemsley video from not too long ago. It's the first time that I've actually talked a bit about the Jeffersons here on the channel. Cindy D says, loved Welcome Back Cotter, had a crush on Freddie Boom Boom Washington. Love it. Chance says Wonder Woman, Electra Woman, and Dyna Girl. I love that. Well, actually, I love both theme songs. The Wonder Woman theme song was fantastic, and the Electra Woman and Dyna Girl one was pretty darn great as well. Sakina says back in 76, Studio 54 was a hot and exclusive disco. Let's see. Tracy Tobias says, didn't Charlie's Angels start in 76? I believe it did. Let's see what else we got. We got the Old Farm Show hanging out with us tonight. Welcome, welcome. And Chance says, the Fembot scared me silly on Halloween night, 1976. They were scary, those fembots. Maskatron. Tracy Tobias says Logan's Run was 76. Great movie. I really enjoyed the first book too. Really a good book. Ken McMunn says Lee H. Montgomery is the only surviving main cast member of Burt Offerings. It's a movie I need to check out. And Chance points out that Star Wars was filmed in 76 and released in May of 1977. Miragard Hissy says, wow, oh wow, the fembots. I love the fembots. We all did. We all love the fembots. And Teb says, notable births from 1976, Reese Witherspoon. Just saw her in a new movie on Prime with Will Ferrell that's pretty funny. Ryan Reynolds, Candace Cameron Bure, Melissa Joan Hart, Joey Lawrence, Soleil Moon Frye, Colin Farrell, loved him in The Penguin. Didn't finish it, though. I thought he was great as the Penguin and loved him as the Penguin in the Batman movie, but it was just a little rough for me, the Penguin miniseries on Max. Let's see. Let's keep going. Fred Savage, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Jaleel White. Urkel himself. Thanks for sharing, Deb. Ken McMunn says, I don't know why the 1976 King Kong bombed at the box office. I thought it was one of the best versions. As a kid, I thought it was fantastic. Let's keep going here. Sakina says that back then, platform shoes were all the rage. Melina Long says that Dennis Quaid was in a McDonald's TV commercial that year. John wants to know if the movie Network was it 1976 or 75? I'm tempted to say it was 75. No, it was a 76 film. There you go, John. Dead on, buddy. Ken McMunn says, my favorite show as a kid was The Incredible Hulk. I don't think it debuted in 76. I want to say that was a 77 or 8. Let's see. I'm looking it up right now. Let's see when it debuted. 77. Let's see. Rockford Files says CJ Penny. Welcome to the live stream, CJ. Hey, look at this. A Child is here. Welcome. Good to have you with us, as always. Miragard Hissyfit points out that Deborah Winger hated being Wonder Girl. Well, second fiddle to Linda Carter. Who would want to be that? Ken Wilkinson was in 7th grade in 76. Channel member Sean Innes says, Frampton Comes Alive, Station to Station, Ramones' debut album. Great music there. Great music. And David C. wants to know when the first Battle of the Network Stars was. I do think it was 76. We'll find out right now. Network Stars. We're going to look it up. November 13th, 1976 was when the first episode of Battle of the Network Stars debuted. Channel member Sean Innes says, Burnt Offerings is good, great cast. Ken McMunn says, yeah, the first season of Wonder Woman was in World War II. I think, yes, it was. That was when it was on the ABC television network. Tracy Tobias says, love Space 1999. And Teb goes on to share a few more notable births. Alicia Silverstone, Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. Joe Manganiello. Have you guys seen Pee-wee's Big Vacation? Or is that what it's called? Pee-wee's Big Holiday or something like that. It's the Netflix one. That is, Joe Manganiello is so great in that. Danny McBride, Mark Duplass, Danny Pintaro from Who's the Boss, Jeremy Miller. That's the one with the Seaver family. And I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. Andrea Barber and Allison Sweeney. Oh, Miragard Hissy says that Wonder Girl was in season 1. I'll have to go back and check that out. In 76, Ken McMunn says Tom Baker was the 4th Doctor Who. Channel member Byron USA. Great to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, Byron. Always a treat to see you in the chat. Let's see. Cindy D says, my mom loved Leo Sayer. You make me feel like dancing. R.I.P. Mom. Love that. Chance Bartel says, yes, Dave, Sundstrom 3's company premiered at the same night as 8 is Enough on ABC on Tuesday, March 15th, 1977. I don't know why I was thinking it was January, March. Huh? Okay. Got it. Let's see. Cindy D was 9 in 76. Channel member Byron USA was just a youngster, a little guy, 3 in 1976. G. Rio says, Diamond going bankrupt is going to affect a lot of pop culture things. Yes, it is. They did get a new distributor. They have found a new distributor, but it really impacted it. Think about it. So they've paid Diamond to help with the distribution of a number of their publications. The publications didn't get distributed, and Diamond kept the money. Really bad situation for them and other companies, I imagine, as well. Again, if you can support them by going and picking up anything. The Age of TV Heroes looks pretty great. I've really been enjoying it so far. But yes, and Raja 1938 points out the great artwork by Alex Ross on the cover. I'm running way behind here on the chat comments. Let's see. I want to get to, let's see what we've got here. Got a couple of super chats I want to get to. And it looks like your card is working, Albert Notto Retro. Thank you so much. He says, let's see if this works. Looks like it worked. And Albert Notto Retro also with a $5 super chat. Saying, did you ever see that Star Trek tribute I made with Johnny Cash's rendition, Hurt? By the way, I don't know if I did. If you, I'll tell you what, I'll track it down and I'll actually share it with everybody in the chat too. And if I have your permission, I'll even share it on the live stream tonight. You tell me if I have your permission for that, and we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you so much for your support, and I appreciate it very, very much. It's kind of you to do that. Tracy Tobias says Starlark magazine started in 1976. Great magazine. One of my favorites. Mirrorguard Hissy Fit says, tell Retro they need a GoFundMe for business. I forget what it's called, but they do have some. I think they just are going to try to tough it up by making, by having some really good deals on the website and hoping that people will bite at that as opposed to just asking people to give them money. They'd rather give a product for those people that are willing to support them. Ken McMunn says Deidre Hall of Electro Woman and Dinah Girl went on to become famous. Yeah, as Marlena on Days of Our Lives. Let's see. Thank you, good sir. I bought myself an expensive coffee yesterday, and that'll go to pay that bill. Chan says only one season was Happy Days at number 1. Yeah, it was the 1976 season. It beat All in the Family's 5-year run at number 1 in 76. I know, Miragard, it does seem like Happy Days was on TV just a couple of years ago, but it's been a while, a good long while. Ken McMunn says, I've uploaded some Donnie Most and Anson Williams songs on my channel, perhaps? And Cindy D says, I like the racial episode with Christoph St. John. You need to watch that one. I've seen that one. Yes. John McJunkin says, sorry I'm late getting here. Hope you're well, Dave. And I hope you are doing well also, my friend. Jimmy Crackhorn says, trailer for Beyond the Door, very scary. And X-Ray Zero says, Paul Lynde Halloween special with guest band Kiss. You know what? That's the perfect segue to let my buddy Thresh Pondo Pons talk a little bit about that Halloween special and the significance that it had for him. So let's take the comment off the screen. Take that off the screen. Let me see if I can rustle up Thresh Pondo. Where are you, buddy? Oh, there you are. Okay.
we always had the TV, we always had the radio, and we always had movies. If even you couldn't get to a movie, the movies were always on TV. And these became sort of an escapism for me. And every now and then you find things that become like events. I mean, I know there were like big things like the moon landing, which I was around for, but I was only 2. All I can remember is that I cried a lot. But when you take things like, oh, I don't know, Paul Lynde's 1976 Halloween special, where for some reason everybody you talk to about that, if they saw it, knows where they were. For me, that was the first time I saw Kiss. They remember the sketches. They remember it in such vivid detail that it kind of brought me to the realization that, you know, you don't have to have experienced something with somebody firsthand to enjoy it with them. We can actually relate to things almost as a culture. And that actually just helps bring us closer together. And the more I started digging, now again, as we all know, I started my channel out of boredom. It was during the COVID shutdown. I was climbing the walls. I could only binge watch Game of Thrones with my wife so many times. And one day I was in my garage and I just pulled out my phone and started talking into it. And I set it as a test post. And I'm like, you know what? If I actually put some thought into this, I might actually be able to go somewhere with this. Little things that I thought I was the only person that remembered. There's thousands, hundreds, millions of people on the internet that remember. I post these things and it makes me feel good to know that there's more people out there who remember the things I remember.
I love it. Love it. And it's so funny you brought up the Paul Lynde Halloween special, because that's actually on my potential topics list. That may be the video I do after Stacey Nelkins, is my memories of that special, because it's an insane, perfect storm of events that led up to that special. Paul Lynde had 2 failed TV series for ABC, and he needed to complete a contract commitment. And so they kept throwing these, the way he was completing that commitment was, instead of them, risking a ton of money on another television series, he was doing these sporadic specials. But that one with, if you think about the guests on that particular special, you mentioned Kiss, but you also had Margaret Hamilton,
Billy Hayes,
Witchy Poo. You had Florence Henderson, Roz Kelly, Pinky Tuscadero, and they weren't even billed, but Donnie and Marie showed up as well. This was like pop culture Mecca 101. It was just an incredible evening. And I think it was Kiss's first TV appearance, if I remember correctly.
Friday, a Halloween special starring Paul Lynde. Turning myself on. And his special guests, Tim Conway, Florence Henderson, Pinky Tuscadero, and the incredible Kiss. All on the Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Friday on ABC.
All right. I love that Halloween special. It's one of my favorites. It's just absolutely nutty and just a perfect storm of all sorts of guest stars and nuttiness going on with that. Let's get back to comments. I think there was one more super chat from Albert Nada Retro. Says, do a search for Star Trek Hurt. Albert Nada Retro, feel free to play it. I would be honored, sir. It is Kirk Shatner heavy. I actually went back and looked at it during that, and I remembered I did watch it. I liked it quite a bit. So congrats on doing an excellent job with the editing there and incorporating the Johnny Cash version of Hurt on to that song. I won't be able to play it just because it is commercial music, which will affect the monetization status of this particular video. But I'm going to find a way to incorporate it at some point in the future in something where I don't really care about the monetization status of the video or the live stream. But for those folks who haven't seen it, I'm going to go into the chat right now and share the link. And folks, I would encourage you at some point, either you can go now and come back and watch the live stream later, but you can, or wait until after the live stream's over. I will put that link in the description section of this video as well, so you can go watch one of our community members work. So thanks again for all your support. Albert Nada Retro, also known as McMahon Hater. Depends on what, if you're looking at using the app on a phone. It's weird how YouTube, sometimes it shows a different handle. You've got your actual YouTube name, and then you've got your at something else, and they don't always match up. So great to have you with us, and thanks for all your support, Albert Nada Retro. I'm going to try to skip forward a little bit because I'm so far behind. I'm going to go to, let's go to 7 o'clock and see if I can just burn through some of these things here. We've got, looks like we've got, Cindy D says, turn the beat around, love to hear percussion. Yeah. That's another disco song from the era. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, notable TV show debuts from 76, Charlie's Angels, Alice, Laverne and Shirley, Family Feud, What's Happening, The Bionic Woman, The Muppet Show, Baba Blank Sheep, and Quincy M.E. Let's see. Tracy Tobias says, Bionic Woman was great. Rhymes with Orange, not a fan of Kiss. I love Kiss. I've always loved Kiss. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers. Hey, Tracy, good to have you with us this evening. Says, loved Kiss. Yeah, they're, you know what? It's the rock and roll circus, right? They're not the world's greatest musicians, although, you know, some could argue that the songwriting team of Stanley and Simmons wrote some pretty darn good songs. Channel member Byron USA says, TV was an escapism for me as a kid also. I think it was for a lot of us. A lot of us. I don't know what this means, Chance. Rodak was the lead singer of Kiss. I always thought it was Paul Stanley. You know something that I don't, though. Star Wars Holiday Special wasn't until 1977. Is it 77 or 78? 77, I think. November 77, yeah. Or actually, Chance is saying it was November of 78. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Back then, movies would play in a single movie theater in a city for, well, Star Wars is a perfect example. It debuted in May of 77. And I know a year later, in May of 78, it was still at the same single theater in Salt Lake City. It was one of those ginormous theaters with the huge, it had not only a main level, but a balcony level. It was just ornate and huge. Theaters like that don't exist anymore. Muirgard Hissy Fit says, Hollywood Squares. I was addicted to that show with Paul Lynde in the center square, and Joan Rivers. Love both of them. Yeah, absolutely. Ken McMahon points out Taxi Driver. Let's see. Chad Warren says, I saw the new Hollywood Squares today and was surprised. It's good, like the old ones. I'll have to check it out. Rodak was the original lead singer of Kiss. Yeah. They were, Simmons and Stanley were together in another band before Kiss. We're gonna have to talk about that, my friend. I need some edumacating on that one. Sakina McMurrin says, I loved Paul Lynde on Bewitched and Hollywood Squares. And M. Leahy says, or Leahy says, that Paul Lynde played an unforgettable Templeton the Rat. He sure did in Charlotte's Web, the animated Hanna-Barbera feature. Chad Warren says, what else did Paul do other than Hollywood Squares? Well, he hosted some variety shows. He had some TV shows. Let's see what else we've got. The Nostalgic Pod Blast. Chance says the Space Giants returns to my channel next week. 20 more eps to go, 4 per month until I run out of them. Can't wait. Can't wait, my friend. Channel member Byron USA says, what happened to network television? It used to be something great. You know, there's still some good stuff out there, but you have to search hard. And it's harder now because there's so many channels. Back then we had what? You know, you had 3 major networks, not counting PBS. Then ultimately we got Fox, but it was just easier to find the good stuff. Chad Warren wants to know, when did the Star Trek cartoon come out? 73 on NBC. So you're about 3 years too late, Chad, for that. But I'm sure you caught it on in the reruns, right? Or on reruns. Let's see. We did that one. Let's go to Tracy Tobias. Didn't the first Boston album come out in 76? I thought it was 77, but you might be right. Boston debut album. Let's find out. Tom Schultz, great album. Did a lot of that, released on August 25th, 1976. He did a lot of that recording in his home studio. And basically, that is his recordings that he did mostly himself were what sold the band to CBS, and then ultimately they went in and they polished those things up, and we have a fantastic album as a result. Let's see. More Than a Feeling, great song. Cindy D says, I don't think my parents let me watch that, talking about the Paul Lynde Halloween special. And there is the link to Albert Nada Retro's video. Check it out, folks. Check it out. Channel member Tracy Rothmeyer says, I loved Paul Lynde. He had a good, I enjoyed his style of comedy as well. John McJunkin says, Kiss made their first TV appearance, I believe, on an episode of the Mike Douglas Show. I believe you are correct. And I want to say 75. Channel member Sean Ennis points out major movies during that year were Taxi Driver, Marathon Man, The Omen, The Outlaw Jesse Wells, Assault on Precinct 13, The Enforcer, Carrie, and The Pink Panther Strikes Again. That's a lot. Lots of stuff. Gary Carpenter says, I missed the Paul Lynde Halloween special, but I found it on YouTube. Thank heavens for YouTube, right? What a fantastic resource YouTube is. Ken McMahon says the actress who played Pinky on Happy Days left after a few episodes because she clashed with Henry Winkler. She said she clashed with Henry Winkler, and that is correct, because she was really from the streets and she thought he was a rich kid. They just didn't get along at all. And, the interesting thing is it didn't seem like she got along with many of the cast members. This is the perfect time to segue to another song that I wanted to share with you all. Some of you have probably heard it. It's over on my Retro Jukebox channel. Speaking of Roz Kelly, the actress who played Pinky, she left an impression. She definitely left an impression, and I always called her Big Bad Roz.
Remember a woman, they called her Big Bad Roz. There she was on my TV, a shooting star with a heart of gold. She rode a bike made of steel. She broke Arthur's heart when she said no deal. Big Bad Roz, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, she almost touched the sky. She could be sweet as sunshine, but if you do her wrong, you'll soon live to regret it, 'cause she'll turn on you like King Kong. Big Bad Roz, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, she almost touched the sky.
They said she was tough, they said she was strong. But deep down inside, she knew they were wrong. Big Bad Roz, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood. She almost touched the sky. Big Bad Roz, such a sight to see. She was more than an actress, she was wild and free. She could make you laugh, she could make you cry. A legend in Hollywood, legend in Hollywood. She almost touched the sky. Big Bad Roz.
Love that song. She almost touched the sky. She was that awesome. Roz Kelly, Pinky Tuscadero. And of course, we know that her star, well, it shined. I think that's the right way to say it. Shined so brightly for a brief period of time. All right, let's get back to comments here. Let me cover other super chats that I have here. I have a bunch, so thank you. First off, we got Rex Trek says, was lying on the floor watching our council TV, but having to touch it with your feet, a thing in only my family. Our console TV, okay. But having to touch it with your feet, a thing only my family. My mother used to yell at us boys. We didn't have a console, so we never had that temptation, Rex Trek. Chad Warren says, thanks, Dave, for defending the best classic TV. Batman 66 rocks. It sure does. Forever and ever. One of my favorite TV shows. Thank you so much for the super chat. You guys, your generosity, your kindness is always greatly appreciated. And Albert Nada Retro coming in with another super chat says, I also have a Lynde Carter tribute featuring When I See You Smile by Bad English. One of my favorite post-Journey bands. I think that was actually, they got back together for a short period of time, but Neil Schon and John Cain from Journey, when they broke away from Steve Perry for a while, they formed Bad English with John Waite. And I really love that song as well. I'll have to check it out. It's possible I've watched that one as well, but I'll check it out again. Folks, check out Albert Nada Retro's channel. Give him some support. Give him some love. He's a valued channel member, community member. We love the guy. All right. Let's get back to the non-super chats. I'm going to have to, there's just so much. I'm going to have to just kind of skip through a bunch of them. Chance points out that Smoking the Bandit was filmed in 76. Gary Carpenter says the shows of 76 were Alice, Bionic Woman, Quincy and Laverne and Shirley. Tori C. Tobias says Kiss was great. Ken McMunn says the Elvin Bishop Group. Never really listened to those guys. Let's see. Oh, Chance points out the Starland vocal band's hit from 76, Afternoon Delight. I did not get what an Afternoon Delight was when I was a little kid. Just thought it was a fun song. Cindy D says, I wasn't a fan of Kiss until the Just Dance game with my daughter. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. And if you saw the Fall Guy feature film that came out last summer, was it the summer already? It was last summer. They make extensive use of that song. It's just a great song. Chad Warren says, The Omen was nice and The Exorcist. Other than Hellraiser, I never watched many horror movies after that. Oh, Phantasm I loved. Now you're speaking my language. I loved Phantasm and all of the sequels, quite frankly. The Tall Man. There's a scary dude. The Mausoleum. The Portal to another zone. Another, parallel universe with a different gravity that makes everybody short. Love that. Love it. This is a great suggestion, Teb. Would you please consider doing a Whatever Happened to Gary Frank, best known for his Emmy-winning role Willie Lawrence on Family, which debuted in 1976? I will definitely consider doing that. Movie Palaces, oh yeah, loved them. The multiplexes are great, and they've really done a lot to make their a good experience when you go to the theater. Those big old loungers that they have in the theaters now, and the screens are great, but boy, I miss those ornate movie palaces of yesteryear. Tracy says she wants to rock and roll all night and party every day. Why wouldn't you? Thank you so much for your support. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers. Let's see. Ken McMunn says that the Elvin Bishop group was fooled around and fell in love. I remember that song. Sakina says The Omen was a great movie. Channel member Carlos Ceja points out that Star Wars played for a year in a single theater where he was at as well. Tracy Tobias, talking about Kiss, points out Beth was a great song sung by Peter. And instead of Gene or Paul, Hard Luck Woman, I think Paul sang that one. A lot of greats, yeah. Let's see. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers says, same with Saturday Night Fever. That movie was all over the place, and single run shows still Rocky and the other one. Yeah, they play in a single theater for months on end. Chan says it's a joke about Rodak between Tracy Roth Myers and Rodak was the villain in the Space Giants. Gotcha. Okay. Chad Warren says Elvin Bishop is great. I love those old live music shows, Music Laden and the Midnight Express, the Midnight Special here in the U.S. Let's see. 66 Kimball, welcome to the live stream tonight. Says game shows that were hot in 76 were Match Game, Tattletales, Double Dare. Carlos says he still watches network TV. So do I. I really enjoy some of the shows on CBS, in particular, Elsbeth. And why am I drawing a blank on the old Andy Griffith show that has been rebooted with Kathy Bates? What is the name of that show? Oh my gosh. That is when you know that you're truly getting old, is when you get a brain cramp. I mean, this is a show, Matlock, that I've watched many, many episodes, and to have that actually like get stuck in that, all I could think of was MA something. Then I thought MacGyver, and I know not MacGyver, right? Crazy. Getting old and your memory and all that stuff is no fun. Let's see. Chad Warren says, I had no idea that guy produced the whole Boston album in his home studio until recently. Yeah. It was while he was working for, he was an MIT student, and he was working for Polaroid, I think, at the time. And at nights, he was recording essentially that Boston debut album. Rhymes with Orange says, I watch TV through an antenna. I have an over-the-air antenna as well, and a tableau to record things off of the air. Right now, it's more of a backup than anything else. More Than a Feeling is a great song. Rex Trek says, I love it when kids today say there's nothing to watch on TV. Okay, I'm going to burn through a bunch of comments here because we're getting to the hour mark. Let's see. Deborah Battle says, favorite movie of the year was No Deposit, No Return. That was a fun one. And Chance says, Alice premiered on August 31st, 1976. R.I.P. Linda Lavin. Let's see. Melina Long says that some members of KISS are alive today. All members of KISS are alive today. Well, all of the original members of KISS are alive today. We lost Eric Carr, the drummer that replaced Peter Criss. Sakina graduated from junior high in 76, and the Star Wars Holiday Special was 78. Alice premiered on August 31st. That's a repeat comment. Silent movie, Car Wash, The Big Bus, other movies, feature films during 76. Snark and Sass is here. Hey, nice to have you with us, Snark and Sass. I've been enjoying watching your live streams that you do with Sarah. Keep up the good work. Channel member Tracy Roth Myers will send me a message letting me in on the inside joke about Kiss and Space Giants. Thank you, Tracy. No, girls did not dress like that in the 50s. You're talking about the way that Pinky Tuscadero was dressed. Happy Days did a horrible job of reflecting the styles of the era. And Chance is saying that Roz Kelly was no Lindsay Wagner or Lynde Carter. Nope, she was Roz Kelly. Absolutely correct. Let's see. Chad Warren says, I had to explain, let's get this back on the screen. I had to explain Happy Days and Weezer to my 15-year-old son today and show him the videos. That was cool. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Keep preaching, my friend. That's what you got to do to this new generation. They're used to watching 20-second videos on TikTok, and it's hard to get them to sit down and even watch a half-hour television show. Cindy D says, we're still having fun, and we're still the one. I remember when ABC used that as their music. Sakina says, Roz Kelly was awesome, and I am just so far behind that I'm just going to go ahead and skip over. Oh, Chance says, no love for Alice. Not my favorite TV show of the time, but I certainly watched a few episodes back then when I was a kid, and I've caught more even on reruns. And I've done a video on Linda Lavin in the past. So there's some love there. There's some love there. But I would be lying if I said it was my favorite show of the year, of that era. I do want to get to Albert Nada Retro's super chat. He says, I am a UHF guy myself. They've got Knight Rider on CHCH. TV 11 in Hamilton, Ontario, which streams for free if anyone is interested, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Probably can't pick it up out here in the good old Kaysville, Utah, but I do love me some Knight Rider. I do love me some Knight Rider. Great suggestion. Thanks so much for sharing, and thank you so much for your extended support through Super Chats tonight. I also need to mention that our friend and channel member, Carlos Ceja, has dropped a $2 super sticker into the chat. Thank you so much for that support as well, my friend. Folks, we have passed the hour mark, or at least we're getting right up against the hour mark. And I did want to, let's see, let me get a couple more here. Channel member John Collins says, Dave, I have a suggestion for a poll. Place your top 5 most watched presentations on the poll and see which one of them is everyone's all-time favorite presentation. We can do it. I'll put that up there as a poll. I don't know if I can do 5, or I think 4 might be the max, but I'll put it up there and see what folks think. Vox Clementis says, when I was a kid, my dad paid a face painter to do my face as Gene Simmons' Demon. I wore it for a couple days till I had to take it off for school. Love it. Oh, Paul says, Dave, you're not old, just human, my friend. Loved our chat today. I did as well, Paul. Thanks so much for coming. Giving me a jingle on StreamYard here and doing a tech check with me. And I feel pretty confident that we're going to have a great live stream a few weeks down the road here. So thanks again, my friend. And I think this is where I stop. All right. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate y'all. We are going to leave tonight with a quick video about Charlie's Angels, another top 10 television program of 1976, debuted in 76 and was in the top 10 during that 1976 television season. We'll do that. And I will wish you all, I will thank you all for your participation and wish you all a tremendous, tremendous evening. Take care, everyone.
In the beginning, you had Kate Jackson, Farrah Fawcett Majors, and Jacqueline Smith. They were the 3 original angels that helped make the Aaron Spelling-produced crime drama, which ran on ABC, one of the network's biggest hits.
From the producers of Starsky and Hutch, Charlie's Angels.
They work for me. My name is Charlie.
Meet Jill, Kelly, and Sabrina, tempting angels who could capture any man. Charlie's Angels.
On March 21st, 1976, the Charlie's Angels pilot film aired on ABC. The story focused heavily on Kelly, played by Jaclyn Smith, and when the ratings for that movie were off the chart, Spelling and team, well, they knew they had a hit. However, when the show debuted as a weekly series in the fall of '76, everyone quickly became aware that the breakout star was not Kate Jackson, or for that matter, Jaclyn Smith. Instead, it was Mrs. Lee Majors. Yep, she was the lady on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Fellow Americans, stop dragging your feet. Wear kitties when you're going to go out on a date.
Look great.
But do you know your feet need a little love?
Kitty knows.
What an agonizing, enterprising, hard kind of day you spend working overtime. You.
Live it small.
You. When you shop, you need shoes for it all. To say comfort and style. If you're young at heart or young enough to remember, come to Kitty and explore. At the Great American, Great American, Great American Shoe Store.
1976. I remember it like it was yesterday. Really, folks, I can't believe that more than 4 decades have passed. It was a huge year for the United States. The bicentennial, 200 years of independence. The entire nation partied, particularly as we got closer and closer to the 4th of July, Independence Day. I remember my dad taking us to see fireworks and then hitting the only McDonald's within 30 miles of us to get Big Macs for the very first time. We didn't go to McDonald's often back then, and although Big Macs were under $1, my dad let us know that trips to fast food restaurants were saved for very special occasions, like a bicentennial. Although money was pretty tight back then, every couple of weeks my dad would give me an allowance. The amount would vary. Sometimes it would be a couple of bucks, but usually it was less than $1. Still, it was enough to hit the little market down the street and grab a Hershey's candy bar and a bottle of Coke. The store was run by a guy named Irv Cleverly, and the market was very cleverly named Irv's Market. Candy bars back then were only 15 cents, and if we would hurry and drink the bottle of Coke outside of the store and then go back in and give the bottle back to Irv, he'd only charge us a nickel for the soda. So even $1 could go pretty far back in the day. In 1976, the average American home cost about $45,000. I remember my mom talking on the phone to neighbors about what homes were selling for, and she didn't understand how anyone could handle a $300 a month house payment. Like I said, things were fairly tight in our home. In 1976, while Gerald Ford was the President of the United States, I was way more familiar with the Vice President, because my dad liked to say, "Who do you think I am, Nelson Rockefeller?" as he went around the house turning off lights after us. Truthfully though, the lights weren't causing the electrical bill to go up. It had to be the TV set. Back then I was spending as much time as my parents would allow in front of the TV. ABC was my network of choice. They had Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. And oh, I remember thinking that the Fonz was so cool. If only I could be like the Fonz. Or Vinnie Barbarino. And of course there was the $6 Million Man. I loved the episode from the 1976 TV season where Steve encountered Bigfoot for the first time. To this day, I get chills thinking about that epic battle in slow motion with all of those bionic sounds. And then there were the Angels. Pharaoh was still around in 1976. 1 year later, in 77, Cheryl Ladd would take her place as her younger sister, Chris Monroe. But during the nation's birthday, we still had Farrah. One of the only shows that I would turn the dial for was MASH. It was on CBS. I ventured over there occasionally, but like I said, ABC was my bread and butter network. There were so many awesome shows. I haven't even mentioned great shows like Three's Company and Starsky and Hutch. And in movie theaters, Stallone's first Rocky motion picture was both a critical and box office success. Even today, when I think about this film, I immediately hear Bill Conti's amazing music in my head. Another movie that I really loved was Logan's Run. Back then, living until you were 30 didn't seem all that horrible. 30 was so old. Now I understand why Logan chose to run. The movie was good, but I do believe, as is often the case, the original novel by William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson was so much better.
And on the radio, this song seemed to be getting far too much airplay. First I loved it, and then I tolerated it, and then I'd switch stations whenever it came on. Fortunately, enough years have passed now that I enjoy listening to this energetic duet once again. Howard Hughes died in 1976. I remember hearing about it a little bit, but what I really remember is this guy, Melvin Dumar, a fellow Utahn who claimed to have a copy of a last will and testament that gave him a whole heck of a lot of cash. I don't remember how things eventually shook out, although I suspect that things didn't go well for Melvin. Oh well, at least he was one of the main characters in the movie Melvin and Howard. Hopefully Hollywood hooked him up with a little bit of cash for his troubles. As the year wound down, I began thinking about what I should put on my holiday wish list. And this is what I landed on. This action figure was so cool. You could look through Steve Austin's eye, you could peel back skin to see advanced circuitry, you could even activate Steve's bionic arm. Other cool things about 1976 worth noting. It was the year that Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs sold their first Apple computer. I believe they assembled the thing in a garage. And Cy Sperling, well, he started the Hair Club for Men, giving hope to follically challenged fellers such as myself around the world. Truthfully, I never pulled the trigger on a wig. I just couldn't do it. But I'm glad that there are options out there for those folks who want them. Let's end here. Yep, that's a 1976 Oldsmobile Cutlass. We had one of those. I still remember the day my dad drove home in it after buying it without even talking to my mom. Let's just say she wasn't pleased. The lessons you learn in this old life. The lesson I learned that day was that you keep learning lessons no matter how old you get to be. Alright, now it's your turn. Please share your thoughts and your memories in the comments section. And while you're at it, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I would be absolutely honored if you considered subscribing to my YouTube channel. I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
You are special.
Didn't have to do it, but you did. So thank you very much for your support, for your support, for your support. Thank you very much. Click on that thumbnail, cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel, he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.